Cigar Club family, before we get into today's episode, I wanted to update you all that may not be a part of our Discord on some changes to the podcast. A couple weeks ago, some changes were made, and unfortunately, Griff is no longer at Cigar Club. On Discord, he wrote how he thoroughly enjoyed getting to know all of you, the Cigar Club family, and he appreciates you all so much for the support over the last 3 years. If you're still wanting to engage with Griff, you can find him on Instagram over at Griff and Dave. You're able to see what he's smoking, communicate with him. And so what does that mean for the podcast going forward? Well, in the short term, the podcast will become less frequent, but we're going to aim for a couple times a month, and we're going to be bringing in more guests than we ever have before. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking with Hostos of La Isla to talk about the world's first AI-generated cigar that is now available. This is a project that I had envisioned back in January of 2023, so almost a full year. I've worked with some incredible artists, a credible blender, Hostos himself, and the goal of this project ultimately was to highlight that, well, first off, to see if AI could even generate a cigar blend, which surprisingly it was able to, but more importantly, to showcase the artists behind the scenes in the cigar industry, those that are doing the graphic designs for the bands, those that are blending the cigars and working with the tobacco. So basically from the ground up, and show that, you know, while AI is certainly here to stay, at least in our industry, those people and that we hold dear aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So without further ado, let's bring in the man himself. And I think this actually may be the first time we've had you on the podcast.
Really? There's no way.
I want to say there's no way. It would be unfathomable, but I feel like in my head, well, it's the first time we've had you on this year. Hostos from La Isla, welcome. How are you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. Maybe again, maybe not, but I'm happy to be back with you guys. I know we've done videos at the factory. That I know for sure. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about these type of podcasts. But it's great to be back here with you guys. You know, I have much love for you and Cigar Club and everybody involved. So when you asked me to talk about this, what did I tell you? On it. Let me know when.
You said, yep, you jumped in, both feet, no hesitation. Well, we appreciate you taking your time. I know you're a busy man, especially with the holiday coming up.
Everybody wants cigars yesterday at this time of year.
Exactly.
It's a good problem to have.
It is. You guys get a nice little reprieve, though, for what, like a month almost? The factory shuts down?
3 weeks to 4, depending on how much things we need to do. I've been asked that question numerous times by the workers here at the factory, but I still haven't confirmed what date we're going to be closing and opening. But it's usually 3 to 4 weeks, give or take.
Now, are you allowed to come to the factory? Or is it like you can't? No. Okay. I figured you'd be working, but I didn't know if that was like federal can't do it.
No. For the first week, it's going to be completely closed. Or for the first 2 weeks, because we do the main fumigation for the end of the year. And we also, I like to keep my factory spick and span. So every end of the year, we paint the whole factory all over again.
Oh, wow.
Have it brand new because of the paint smell. That way we do it at the end of the year. It doesn't affect anything. Makes sense. Because everything is under lock and key. Everything is under fumigation. So we do those two things. So I usually work from my home for those 2 weeks, but as soon as I'm open, I'm back here. I tell my wife I got to go do something, and I spend 4 hours here or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's always something that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm, always.
So I'm going to go ahead and show everyone, and then we'll kind of jump into how crazy you thought I was when I first approached you with this idea. But here is Havana Gold, the world's first AI blended cigar. We used AI in pretty much as many facets as we could for this project, from the blend to the design to the name. We involved AI in every step of the process. And there's the cigar. Absolutely gorgeous. So going back to January, I was sitting in a cabin in the woods, smoking a cigar out in a hot tub, and I kept seeing AI-generated ideas, content pop up on Instagram, on the internet, and there was one video where it was like AI makes a cocktail, and that kind of sparked, could I do this for a cigar? And I immediately jumped into it and sat down and got on ChatGPT, which is probably the most well-known AI software kind of kicked everything off, so to speak. And I sat down and I started fumbling around with it to see if I could get it to spit out cigar-related stuff. I didn't want just a Dominican cigar, right? I wanted to see if it could give me wrapper, binder, filler. I wanted to see if it could provide me with contextual reasons for that. And so it took me a good hour and a half till I got the input.
Right questions?
Exactly. You've got to phrase it in such a way where it kind of knows what you're wanting. And that was honestly trickier than I thought it would be. And so I finally got it to give me, it split it out into wrapper, binder, and filler. And let me pull it up and I'll tell everyone kind of what that first initial blend looked like. And it was certainly something that I didn't expect, because it started to give out Vitolas as well. Like, I was starting to hone it in, but essentially this is what it spit out for the very first one. It said wrapper, a sun-grown Habano wrapper from Ecuador, which provides a nice balance of sweetness and spice. Binder, a Honduran tobacco for added depth and a bit of spice. Filler, a blend of Nicaraguan and Dominican tobaccos, providing a balance of strength and complexity. And then it even recommend a Churchill size, and it goes on to say, which is a good size that allows for good draw and burn time to enjoy the complexity of the blend. So whether or not those were actually, that would actually make a good cigar, or the reasoning behind the tobacco was anything correct, I knew that I had something that I could work with. And I immediately went to, I got to get Hostos involved in this, because there's no one crazier in the world, or no one in the world that would work with this crazy idea. And I think I immediately texted you. I even think it was probably over the weekend that week. And I was like, hey, I want to talk to you on Monday. What was your first thought when I told you I wanted to do an AI cigar? Did you have any idea what I was even talking about?
No, yeah, I knew about ChatGPT and all that before you even told me about it. I honestly didn't cross my mind regarding creating a cigar blend or something like that. So when you first sent me that text, I was like, AI cigar. I was like, here we go. Something new is out there in the world, and now we got to play with it a little bit. But I was honestly surprised, as you said, when you sent me the straight answers from it. I was like, okay, so it's not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. But I did see some things with the little knowledge that I have that I saw, and I was like, this is not going to work. We're going to have to tweak this or that. But I was still honestly surprised at the details that it gave you. I was going to ask you right now, while you were reading what it gave you, does it have the question you asked it there, or was just
it does? Yeah,
What?
so I made sure I captured as much of the, and I think I even have recordings of when I initially called you. I recorded the conversation, so we may be able to have Ramsey go through and play some of that back to it. But the question, the prompt that I initially got was, let's see here. Can you provide, and it's going to sound silly how easy the question is, but it took a minute to get there. Can you provide me with blend details of the perfect cigar? Was a prompt, and I think...
Okay.
Yep, and that was the one I used for the second blend and the third blend as well. So I was able to use that response or that question to generate three different blends.
Different answers.
Correct. So I reran it, a few times. Some of the times with that question, it didn't give me anything specific, or I could tell, no, this isn't anything worth pursuing. But I think it maybe ran it 5 or 6 times to get 3 different distinct blends that I could provide to you. With the knowledge and knowing that there's going to be some tweaks involved. I didn't want, the main thing with this, I didn't want this to be a gimmicky cigar. There's nothing that kind of turns me away from wanting to smoke a cigar that if I look at it and it just feels gimmicky. There's a time and place for it. Everyone, to each their own. Some people may see this as gimmicky, but I wanted this to be an actual cigar that I was proud of. This is... like I said, a year-long project. So I wanted this to be a good cigar. So I knew that tweaks were probably going to be needed to be made to have that perfect La Isla cigar. Construction, combustion, and flavor will come after those things.
Yeah, I actually, when you sent me that, I was curious myself. I always like new things and just to try things out. I did do those blends exactly as they were written down, because I just wanted to see what it smoked like. And and I found a couple of, not problems, but things that for what we do here, I thought they needed to be tweaked and fixed. Like one of the main things that a lot of people don't know or notice is there's an order to blend cigars. There's an order how you put the tobaccos in the fillers of the cigars. AI does not have a clue about that. So it just spits out tobaccos, and if you know a little bit of tobacco, then you kind of figure out a way. It's more of a base. It's like me asking you a question, like, what type of cigar do you want? And you give me an idea and I go with it, you know? It's kind of the same thing with what I got from the AI that you sent me. I did the cigars, they weren't burning properly because of tobacco. I did it exactly, even the positioning and everything. And it wasn't burning right, the taste was off, the positioning of the tobacco was not right for what we believe needs to be the order of things, because you mentioned construction. Construction is not physically making the cigar. Construction is also part of how you blend the specific tobaccos you're using in the cigar. There's an order where they need to go, like the secos need to be on the outside, as you know, ligeros more in the middle, so it burns properly. Also, so the blend comes through. So when I did the cigars exactly, it was, in my opinion, again, I'm not the expert at everything, but what we thought on our end, it was a cigar that was lacking a lot of things that we look for regarding flavor profiles or spice or different variations and tones of the blend. It was just like a boring cigar, let's say.
Yeah.
It was not burning properly. It was like one of those smoke blowers, as I call them. You just smoke and you don't get anything from it. You know, you don't get a lot of fluence, a lot of flavor from it. You're just blowing smoke. So we did that, and that's when I told you, okay, great idea, but again, remember, this is a handmade product. It needs humans. AI cannot touch still all the human hands that go through cigars and all the little processes and nuances. I had someone visit the factory today, new guy, never been to a cigar factory, and he was kind of shocked at how many details we go into to be able to create a cigar. I love it when people come to a cigar factory and they see the process and they're like, oh, now I understand why this is a little bit more expensive. So AI obviously is machine learning. It doesn't have that human touch, and cigars need that human touch, my friend. I mean, at the end of the day, from sorting tobaccos to looking at it to feeling how they taste, those are things that you can't get with that. So after we smoked that, we said, okay, this is our base. Let's start tweaking a couple of blends off this to what we believe is correct. And how many samples did I send you, Pugh? What was it, 3 options or 2? I don't remember how many there were.
I think you sent me 3 or 4. Yeah, you sent me a couple of them, and I was obviously giddy and excited to smoke through those.
Because the way that, as you guys know, because you guys have been here and you've blended cigars with us, the way that we blend cigars is we always come up with different options, and then we pick from there. That's why I send you different options of blends. Thankfully, one of those blends hit. And that's a cigar you're smoking right now in your hand. We aged it for 3 months and more, I think it was. So the cigars are aged appropriately. And we came out with a blend that we think is good enough for the masses, but still has that little Isla sprinkle on it, you know?
I love the Isla sprinkle. So to break down the blend, this is a Dominican Habano 2000 wrapper, Dominican HVA binder, and then we have Dominican Corojo, Dominican Piloto Cubano, and Dominican HVA filler in this cigar. So it's almost, out of all the blends that I sent you, it's almost an amalgamation of all 3 of them. A combination of kind of each one that they spit out you were able to work with. And things that I don't think AI will ever be able to the point is to be able to give the really breakdown of, you know, hey, it may be able to say Dominican Piloto Cubano, but it may not tell you that it needs Corojo with it, that Dominican Corojo and the Dominican HVA to actually give you a cigar that's going to burn properly. It's not going to tell you, as you were saying, where to layer those leaves and whether you're using viso or seco or ligero. It's never going to have, and partially because I don't think any of this is really written down for it to learn from, because it's all up here. It's all passed down from one blender to the other, one generation to the other. It's never going to be able to learn that because it's never able to get its hands on the tobacco and look at it and smell it and smoke the purito of it and just know the tobacco. Yeah,
man. And a lot of people want to blend cigars, and it's very hard to find somebody that says, oh, these are the tobaccos, make the cigar, put it into production. Making cigars and making blends, it's also something by feel. You know, you're blending tobaccos on the table. you think something's going to be great and it's terrible, and then what you think wasn't going to be great, it's amazing. That for me is the beauty of blending cigars. It's a trial and error thing. You have an idea of what each tobacco gives you profile wise because of the experience you might have of working with them for years and years. But at the end of the day, man, it's all about feel and what you get. And sometimes you think you have it, you're like, maybe tweak it something more, see if we get something extra. AI is never going to give you that. They just spit you out an answer, and this is it, do it. And that way, you're going to lose the feel of what makes handmade premium cigars what they are. Because machine-mades are machine-made cigars. They're cigars of lesser quality, lesser details, lesser things. Maybe for things like that, maybe that could work. But for premium handmade, there's so many human factors that go into making cigars that people really think you just buy tobacco and you put them in somebody's hand and you make tubes of tobacco. And that's not how it works.
Nope, not at all. And the thing that it's never going to be able to do is it's never going to make revisions on that product, right? So if I were to take one of those blends that you rolled and smoked and you're like, this doesn't work, and I went back to it and said, hey, this didn't burn right, modify it to make it burn right. It's not going to, it's just going to spit you out random tobacco. It's never going to be able to learn from the mistakes or what needs to be tweaked. And, that's why people like yourself are so vital and so important to the premium cigar industry, because of the knowledge that you have, the knowledge that you've learned, but also the knowledge that you'll pass down as well.
Oh, yeah. And it's more along the lines of, you got to think of it as AI. If you, like your example, if you tell AI the blend that you gave me and said, oh, this is too strong, fix it, I don't think it's going to give you an answer regarding that, and even going back, I thought you were going to say something even different, which is also a factor. You might smoke a blend today. I send you those 3 samples. You might smoke them today, and then you say, I'm going to wait 2 weeks, see how they progress. And you smoke them in 2 weeks, and they might change. You might like one more than the other. AI is also not going to give you that ever. No. There's no way. There's no way. So it's like, if anybody thinks that AI is going to make blends for you, you're going to have a bad time, because it's a lot of more details that go into this. Again, I love this idea. I think it's a very interesting idea. And it's funny that we did this when AI is in diapers. We did this at the beginning. Yeah. Who knows, in 10, 20 years, we don't even know what the hell is going to be happening in 20 years. So imagine AI, the way it's progressing, and even videos and all these deep fakes and all this thing happening. Oh, yeah. And we don't know where we're going. So who knows? As of today, I would recommend you blending a cigar with AI. That would be my recommendation today, 2023. And 2030, who knows?
At least if you want a cigar, maybe it'll hit a 1 in a million chance of coming up with something good. But if you want a cigar that's going to actually be enjoyable and be something to be happy with or proud of, no, it's not going to be able to do that for you just yet.
And that's a very interesting thing you said there, Pugh. When you do a cigar and you work on it for months on end, it's a more promising result than you spitting something on the computer and then spitting it out here, and then that's it. If it sucks, it sucks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You don't care, but we do care about what we do. We want the cigar.
Absolutely. And I think part of it too is that kind of collaboration between the blender and whether it be another blender or the client. That kind of back and forth. You don't have that with AI. Like I said, if I said this doesn't burn right, fix it, it's not going to give me that response. Whereas I could be like, hey, this is really good. There's something about it that's just off. There's this, bitter, harsh note. And then we could work together to kind of figure out what that was and then fix it and come up with something that we're both happy with and both proud of and find a solution that works.
And that is part of the process of blending cigars. Nobody's going to come up with the first blend. It's perfect. It's the best cigar ever. It's a process. You got to, and especially in my case, that I make brands for other cigar makers, for other brands, I have a lot of different ideas. I have a lot of different input that me making my own brand. So with me working with other people, I listen to other opinions, suggestions, ideas. Again, I've always told you guys, and I'll even hide this. For example, I'm a guy that I like smoking stronger blends. Doesn't mean that I don't like making mild blends or I don't like smoking one every once in a while, but you do what the customer needs you to do. And they always request little tweaks, stronger, spicier, milder, too strong. I mean, there's things that you need to work on while you're moving along with the project. Yeah. And with AI, it's just we might sound old. We might sound. I remember when we were young, we used to tell our parents, "You guys sound like dinosaurs." I sound like a dinosaur now. AI is the new thing. It's in, but
This could come back to bite us.
yeah, you never know. If it does come back to bite us, I'll try to wear some type of protection so it doesn't bite me too hard.
Exactly.
Hey,
So
for sure.
the next kind of step that I wanted to take this is, I wanted, after I knew that we could get somewhere with the blend and actually come up with a cigar that's going to be enjoyed, I then wanted to, like I said, I want to incorporate AI in as many facets of this project as I could. So I went on to Midjourney, which is an image generator. You give prompts, and then it spits out AI-generated images, which is insane. And where it was when I did this back in February to where it is now, it's even then, it is night and day.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what it would turn out now. And that one is so much more prompt-heavy than even just like ChatGPT is, in terms of the description that you give it can really, and the more details you give it of what you want, really alter and affect the overall image that it spits back to you. So for me, I knew I wanted to incorporate my love of 1940s, 1930s pinup art, specifically, that kind you'd see on World War II planes. They draw their misses or whatever to remind them of home. So that was my starting base to it, and I went through about 16 or 17 different iterations, and Ramsey can throw some of those initial ones up there, but I started out with that, and it just wasn't, it didn't match the modern take of what this project was entailing. So I started to incorporate, like futuristic themes and terms into it, and ultimately that's how we settled on this image here.
There we go. Yeah, you did it.
This lovely made-up lady. No name to her. I didn't name her. So once I had that,
I love the paper too. Paper's great. It has that AI vibe to it as well.
It honestly, it's one of my favorite things, and we'll get to this in a second because I would have never have thought of this without our designer.
There you go.
So I took this image of this lady and I engaged, just like the conversation I had with you. I engaged our designer and kind of broached the idea of the project to him and kind of envisioned or talked about what I envisioned for it. And he was able to take this image and turn it into a cigar band. And through back and forth, and Ramsey can throw up the actual cigar band because you can't see it on my photo here, he was able to replicate the colors, expand it into a cigar band because, I tried to have it give me a cigar band, but you can't. So I had to turn it into, an oval or a circle image portrait to be able to actually then take that and transfer it into a band. And he incorporated the beautiful gold throughout it, the kind of circuit board design that's on the band itself. And then we were kind of going back and forth, and I didn't want just plain paper on the wrap. I just didn't want black or green or gold. And so we incorporated that design into the paper, got the gold on there. It looks stunning.
I loved it. I loved it. And you know what?
And so at this...
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's interesting what you're telling me right now because I had no idea. Kind of like what we were talking about with the cigar. You had to do the same thing with design, huh? So it's not 100% working for design either. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought you guys just went straight through AI and just came up with something ASAP. I didn't know you had to send it to the designer. So another point there.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the image itself was just kind of a circular portrait, sort of what you see, but I knew that couldn't make a band, right? You can't just stretch that and make it a cigar band. It made a okay sticker, but I didn't want just that, and we'll get to the sticker here too once we kind of came up with the name. But yeah, it was another step in this project where, without the incredibly talented people that I was able to work with, it wouldn't have taken and turned into this absolutely amazing cigar and an amazing band. So now I had the cigar band, I had the cigar blend itself, and I didn't have a name. So once again, I hopped on ChatGPT and asked it to give me a name of a cigar, for AI, an AI name cigar. There's a couple kind of keywords that I put in there, and it spit me out. I went through probably 100 different iterations, and they were all trash, like artificial fumos, and it was terrible. But the one that stuck out to me was Havana Gold. And I don't know how it knew that I had gold in the band already and gold in the portrait design, because I didn't give it the portrait to kind of give me names off of.
Really?
And I was like, that is absolutely perfect.
I'm actually shocked that name was available. It's so good.
It was spot on for everything about this cigar. And so went back to a designer, and I knew I wanted to incorporate a sticker on the front of the 5-pack, which are available for retail sales. And it'll also come with an additional sticker that you're able to put on your humidor, your travel door, cooler.
Where's my sticker?
I got you. I'll get you. I'll get you. Don't you worry.
Hey, okay.
And so we were able to take that initial band design and turn it into a sticker. We worked with him on the placement of Havana Gold, the font, where we wanted CigarClub on there. I didn't want CigarClub to really be the main focus, but I also, you got to have your branding on there as well. And so I ultimately, it turned out absolutely gorgeous, and I could not be more thrilled with how the project ended up. And so we were able to incorporate AI into really pretty much every step of this project. And I even used AI to come up with the featured pairing for this cigar. So new one for you. So I'm a huge fan of a Manhattan, and so I asked ChatGPT to make me a twist on a classic Manhattan cocktail, including a name, and it did. And it's absolutely wonderful. It's called the Southern Manhattan.
Okay.
It's basically your traditional Manhattan, but the twist is peach bitters. It's nothing crazy. It's not like this outside, wild drink or anything like that, but it came up with a Southern Manhattan. It's kind of like this fall summery drink. It's not too summery because it's not hot out, but it's got that bitter. It's got that bourbon in there. It's got a little bit of peach for some of the sweetness, and I think it goes really well with the cigar. There's a little citrus notes
with a twist of
peach bitters.
Peach bitters. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna get a couple because I kept a few for myself. I mean, I want to smoke a few of them myself. So I'll definitely do that drink with the cigar soon, for sure.
Yeah, I'll send you the actual full cocktail. That's
perfect.
It's really cool. It's in the Insider. So if you're watching this and you are part of our monthly club, you've had this cigar first. It is in your Insider, and I'll put up the cocktail on our website for those that do buy it as well. But it was just one extra step that I could do to incorporate ChatGPT, kind of a final hurrah for the project. And I went through a couple of them, and none of them were really good. And this one worked because I had peach bitters as well, so I didn't have to go out and really buy anything different. And just reading it, I knew right off the bat that would work really well with this cigar.
I'm curious to try it now. Send me that ingredient list after we finish up here, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So final question for you. And we kind of brushed over this a little bit, but do you see, now knowing the kind of full scope of this project, do you see any place currently that AI could be incorporated in the cigar industry?
I mean, if I had to mention a way that AI could be incorporated, it's what you're doing here right now with this project. If you want to work and you want to get on the AI thing and you want to work with AI, you just right now, as of today, you still need somebody. You need humans to make it happen. At the end of the day, again, I sound like an old man, but I'm a firm believer that there's a difference between when things are done by humans and done by machines. For me, it's a big thing. Coming from a cigar world all my life, working with premium handmade cigars, I've seen this firsthand. And again, look, even talking with you guys, AI is not going to tell me to smoke samples, do all this. This is what you need to do to come up with blends and come up with things you need to do. So at the end of the day, as of today, I would say if you do want to work with it, just be sure you're working with somebody close to make that cigar that at least has an idea of what is supposed to be done. It's not that you can print that out and you can take it anywhere here, make it. That's not how it works. But at the end of the day, we also have to be open. It's what you said. From February to today, it's insane the leaps and bounds all of this has been taking. So I can't tell you this is never going to work. Who knows? I can't be that guy that says, oh, this is absolutely terrible. I mean, as of today, it doesn't work. That's my firm opinion. As of today, it's still too new. And I don't see it working in the near future because that human touch is something that it's very hard to replicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so absolutely. The experience.
This was an interesting experience for me because I wanted to see if my days were counted or not. So thank you for that.
Hey, trust me, that's why I wanted to start the project too. Is because I had a lot of friends in the design industry, in photography and digital graphics and digital art, which was really starting to pop up with Midjourney and kind of the images that they were generating. And that kind of started from there. It was like, I know these guys are really concerned about their future and how much AI is going to be taking over or potentially replacing people. And I was like, you know what, let's take that into the cigar industry and see what we can do. And, ultimately I kind of knew what I wanted at the end of that, or kind of knew the outcome, which is we're not getting replaced, right? It's not quite there yet. It may not be fully applicable to the cigar industry. Maybe some facets it could be, but for the most part, at the end of the day, there's no replacing the knowledge and experience that people like yourself have, people like the graphic designer that I worked with, to take a project. You can, like you called it, a base. You can take that start. But these people with their experience, their passion, and their dedication to their craft are needed in this industry. And without them, we'd be smoking boring leaves that probably aren't even rolled together properly. So thank you for being open to this project idea. Thank you for working with me. Probably sounded crazy originally, but I think at the end of the day, we were able to come up with something that is not a gimmicky cigar. It's a cigar that you can smoke at morning. I've had it in the morning. I've had it at night. I'm now having it in the afternoon. Water, coffee, cocktail, wine. I mean, this cigar goes really well with just about anything. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, these are the type of projects that pique my interest. I love different things. I love switching it up a little bit. And yeah, I wanted to see if this was something that should make me nervous, but I'm good.
Nope. No need to be nervous.
No. We're good. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the difference between handmade and machine made, man. At the end of the day, there are little things that you cannot get from a machine. And I don't think, like you mentioned your design friends. Yeah, I've even seen how crazy the jumps have been with things like Photoshop, or AI does a bunch of stuff that I could do that somebody else needed to know how to do. But that's all machine, With cigars, it's all hands, man. You need humans, you need people. And I've always told you guys, it's funny, but cigars, the way that even the cigar roller feels that day affects how the cigar comes out. If he's having a bad day, if he's sad, if he's happy, if he's pissed, if he's annoyed, whatever the case may be, you have to maintain a level of humanity, or like human hands, to do these type of products, because that's part of why they are what they are. That's why cigars are a little bit, premium cigars are more expensive than machine made. That's why you see all these big companies that have been making cigars for 100 years or more. Without people doing that and all the knowledge, because you mentioned that we know stuff, but this is like, we learn new things every day. I'm not here saying I'm the best, that I know everything.
Sure.
I love sitting down with people, and I'd love to listen and learn from. I'm lucky enough that I know a lot of people that have been in this for so long. And the things I've learned and heard from cigar makers that have been doing this for years, I'm never going to hear or see from an AI chat.
No, never.
Whatever the case,
never. Yep. I mean, it's years and years of, hundreds of years of experience passed on from one person to the next, and compounds you'll pass your knowledge on. You do daily for the people that work, with you and in your factory. And it's like I said, it's not written down either, so it can't learn from unless it's jumping into our brains. It's got nowhere to learn it.
No, it's got nowhere to learn it. And even if we go further, let's say AI gets to a point where it does spit out a decent blend. Great, go do it. You know what I mean? It's not about just having a piece of paper with the tobacco blend and then it's going to be perfect. No, that's not how it works. You got to give that paper to somebody, and it needs to go through all the processes. So regardless if AI gets to a point where it spits out an amazing blend, you have to know what you're doing to be able to create it and make it happen, So that's why I don't see myself as being worried or anything regarding AI at the moment. Not at all.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Well, thank you again. We do have a couple questions of the show, so I'm going to read those. I'm going to answer them, but if you've got an answer too, jump on in. We would love to know. So this first question is why you Americans, like a Connecticut rapper, smoke real cigars. Solid question. A little on the nose, a little directed and aggressive. There's nothing wrong with a great Connecticut cigar.
That person needs to smoke a good cigar. Sounds like he's smoking bad cigars.
I think the appeal to a lot of new smokers, and I maybe I'm incorrect in this, but I think there is a 90s we saw a real surge in cigars, and it died down a little bit. And I think we definitely are seeing a resurgence in America of cigar smokers. I don't know what the European trend looked like in the 90s and what it currently looks like now, but to me, they're probably a little bit more of a history of smoking cigars in Europe. So when I think of new American smokers, Connecticut cigars tend to be what people gravitate to because they're less intimidating. You walk into a humidor or you have a friend who smokes cigars, chances are they're not going to give you a dark Maduro because the perception is these cigars are stronger, they're more full-bodied, they're more of an experienced smoker or experienced smoke, and that just doesn't translate to someone who's picking up a cigar for the first time. It's an intimidation factor.
Yeah.
And whether that person doesn't progress to medium, Habanos or Maduros, that's, they may or may not. They may go, I really like these Connecticut's and these are for me. But I find a lot of people, once they pick up a Connecticut and find something they enjoy, they start to wonder what else is out there, and then they gravitate towards, Habanos, Maduros, little darker, medium, full-bodied cigars.
Yeah, to add on a little bit to that question, I mean, first of all, to the person who asked this, we're smoking cigars. I mean, this is not, regardless of what you're smoking, it should be a good time. So figure that out. But regarding the whole Connecticut thing, the way that I see it is, back in the 90s when the boom happened, the 90% of cigars that were sold, I don't know if it's 90 exactly, but I mean, like most of the cigars sold or known were Connecticut's. That even today, the classic OG Connecticut shade, that super yellow cigar, you don't see that anymore nowadays. Nowadays, people use more Connecticut Ecuador. It's a little bit more dark, but still that yellowish. A lot of people, as you said correctly, the perception, which is incorrect, is people think a Connecticut cigar is going to be a mild cigar, and for a guy starting to smoke, that's where he needs to go. But I can make you a Connecticut cigar that's going to knock you on your ass. It all depends on how you do it. So the perception of people see a dark cigar, they're like, oh, it's going to kill me. And I've smoked a lot of mild Maduro cigars, Yeah,
so absolutely. Sweet, chocolatey, nothing that's really going to put you down.
So the Connecticut is more that. It's always been the consensus of a milder cigar, a beginner cigar. And in Europe, I don't know the numbers during the boom, but Europe has always pushed toward that type of shade because of all the Cubans that are in Europe. Most Cubans are light-looking cigars. So it was big in Europe as well. But the whole Connecticut thing is just about what you like. If somebody smokes Connecticut and he's been smoking cigars for 30 years, then great. You found the cigar you love, and that's what you smoke.
You're enjoying it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, that type of question is a question that I don't believe in, because for me, cigars, it's all about the experience and what you like. I never say I think a cigar is terrible. I just might say I don't like it because it's not my profile. It's not. It doesn't mean it's a bad cigar. It doesn't mean it's. And again, who cares if it's dark, light, brown? Who cares, man? The thing about cigars is enjoying what you like. So all Americans smoke etiquettes because it's a beginner cigar, and it's always been popular since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're enjoying it, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. If you want to pick up a White Owl, blueberry flavor, you enjoy it. No one else can tell you you're wrong, because at the end of the day, you enjoy it.
Taste is subjective, my friend. You can love a $1,000 bottle of wine, and I can say this, I don't like this at all. I hate it. I like a $20 bottle of wine. It's all about taste, and that's what's beautiful about the cigar industry and the community is nobody judges. Everybody smokes what they like. I mean, I've seen people smoke cigars this long and this fat. I don't smoke those, but hey, if you like that,
exactly. There's a cigar for everyone at the end of the day.
All day.
And then I've got one more question. This comes from 21 Century Viking. Can you recommend anything that has a campfire smell or taste? I think the immediate answer that I go to is anything that's going to be fire cured is going to give you that campfire, beef jerky type of flavor in essence. So any fire cured tobacco, I think the big one is the Drew Estate Kentucky Fired Cure, but there are certainly cigars out there that aren't as fire cured forward as that one is. They may incorporate a couple leaves of fire cured tobacco in it. So if you're looking for a cigar, go into your local brick and mortar and say, hey, do you have anything that has fire cured tobacco in it? They'll be able to guide you in the right direction.
Let me add to that, Pugh, because when you go to a fire cured cigar, that's like a specific type of cigar, If you want to keep it like in the natural tobacco, whatever, the closest we can get to that is anything blended correctly with a Mexican San Andres wrapper. It has that smokiness to it. It gives you that kind of vibe. So, because I've tried the fire cured cigars and it's completely different to regular cigars. It's a different profile. It's like going into the pipe tobacco taste. It's like different types of flavorings. So if you like the fire cured, that would be an option, or try anything with like a heavy Mexican wrapper that gives you that smokiness that that wrapper gives you as well.
That's why you're the expert, because that's a great call, and I don't think it would have taken me a while to come to that one. I immediately went to fire cured, but that's a great call out.
That's the right answer you're saying, but if somebody doesn't want to go that route, because that's more of, you like regular natural cigars, you like fire cured, you like flavor. Those are three different categories, so it all depends where you want to go into.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap this up here with a giveaway. I want to know in the comments below, what do you think of this AI cigar, and are you wanting to try it? So we're going to pick someone from the comments below. We're going to get you out a 5-pack of the Havana Gold, and I'm going to throw in a beautiful Oliva leather cigar case in there as well. Why not? This is an amazing project. I'm super excited for it, so I'm going to throw in a little extra goodies. But Hostos, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cigar Club podcast. Thank you again for working with me, allowing me to work with you, and not immediately dismissing me like I think so many people would have, and allowing me to kind of see what we could do together. This has been a joy, and I look forward to future projects with you.
I appreciate it, Pugh, and to you and the whole crew. You guys. I love you guys, and I'm more than happy to be in anything you guys need. And if you have another crazy idea, hit me. I mean, it might suck.
Absolutely.
Who knows? But
we'll find out together.
Yep, my ears will be open. That's for sure.
There you go. Well, until next time, everyone, thank you again for tuning into the Cigar Club podcast. Happy smoking.